Welcome to the introduction to the Light Touch app. This module will assist you to commission the Dali64 sensor using the Light Touch software. Before you continue, please make sure that the Bluetooth function is enabled on your tablet. When you are ready, please click Start. Settings menu. The Settings menu is divided into subsections. Please select Identify Switches to continue. Select the Positions view, then tap the dots icon in the top right of the screen. Tap Start Identifying Switches. Activate any light switch. The device updates to display input channel the switch is connected to. Repeat for all switches. Tap the dots icon in the top right corner. Tap Stop Identifying Switches. Tap the Settings button, then tap the sensor, the device with the green dot. Please click Return to Settings menu and select Product Parameters. Please select Product Parameters. Sensor names can be changed to give a user-friendly identifier. Tap Sensor Name. Tap Sensor Name box to type in new sensor name. Using the PC keyboard, type the name Training Room 3, then tap OK to continue. The sensor name has now changed. The LED indicator enables and disables routine LED indications for the sensor. Even when disabled LEDs will still operate in walk test mode and for fault indication. Tap Sensitivity Occupied. Sensitivity Occupied sets the detection sensitivity during occupancy. The recommended setting is maximum. In some environments, it may be necessary to reduce the sensitivity to prevent false triggering. Please tap OK to continue. Tap Sensitivity Vacant. Sensitivity Vacant. This sets the detection sensitivity outside of occupancy. It enables the sensitivity of movement to be reduced in unoccupied areas to reduce the likelihood of false triggering. Please tap OK to continue. Tap Silk Address. Silk Address. Up to 15 devices are supported on the Silk Bus. Select the address of the device on the Silk Bus. Please tap OK to continue. Application Control enables blue and disables grey, the occupancy application. Occupancy enables blue and disables grey, the sensor's occupation, movement detection. Tap Occupancy Group. Occupancy group is the default group used when occupancy is detected if more than one group is configured. Please tap OK to continue. Tap Occupancy Trigger Mode. Occupancy Trigger Mode allows the selection of Presence Mode, Auto On, Auto Off, or Absence Mode, Manual On, Manual Off. Additionally, the sensor may be set to automatically select absence mode or presence mode according to the background light level. In this case, the sensor would operate in presence mode only when the ambient light level is very low. Please tap OK to continue. Tap Power Up State. Power Up State defines the behavior of the Power Up. If set to occupied, the sensor will launch into the occupied state at power up. If set to vacant, the sensor will not look for occupancy and will remain in the unoccupied state for 30 seconds following a power interruption while the sensing electronics stabilizes. Occupied is recommended for safety-critical applications Where it is undesirable to lose light output following a power interruption, please tap OK to continue. Tap Presence Action. Presence action. The action taken when presence is detected. Any configured scene or percentage level can be selected. Please tap OK to continue. Please tap the Occupied Timer. Occupied Timer sets the period which, in conjunction with the occupancy sensor, defines whether the area is considered to be occupied or not. Please tap OK to continue. To access the remaining parameters, drag the screen view up. Tap Transition Action. Transition Action. The transition action dims the lights to warn the user that no movement has been detected within the time limit and the lights are about to go off. Normally, a lower light level than the occupied would be configured. Please tap OK to continue. Tap Transition Timer. Transition Timer. Following the expiry of the occupied state, it may still be uncertain as to whether the area really is unoccupied. The transition timer determines the length of a period during which reaffirmed occupancy will quickly return the sensor to its occupied state without requiring any manual intervention. For example, if absence mode is enabled, please tap OK to continue. Tap Absence Recovery Timer. The absence recovery timer only functions if absence mode is enabled. It is an additional transition timer to enable the lighting when movement is detected within the time period set. Please tap OK to continue. Tap Vacant Action. Vacant Action. The action taken when the location is vacant. The lighting should be set to off, but any configured scene or percentage value can be selected. Click Return to Settings menu to continue, then select Photocell and Regulation. Select Photocell and Regulation. Tap the Photocell and Regulation option at the top of the screen. Photocell. The master enable and disable for all photocell operations. Tap Photocell Mode. Photocell mode allows the sensor to detect and control light levels. When set to ignore, all on-off thresholds and regulation set point is ignored by the switching logic section, and the light is on if required. When set to passive, only the on threshold is considered. If the light level within the room exceeds this threshold when the light is required, the strategy may block the light turning on. Should the light level fall below the threshold, the light will be permitted to turn on. When set to active, both thresholds are considered. Similar to passive mode, the strategy can block the light turning on when ambient light is above the on threshold. Additionally, the strategy may force the light off when ambient light levels exceeds the off threshold, normally for a few minutes. Please tap OK to continue. Tap Photocell Turn On Threshold. Photocell Turn On Threshold. The darkest point at which the photocell allows the outputs to turn on. Please tap OK to continue. Tap Photocell Off Threshold. Photocell Off Threshold. The brightest point at which the photocell turns the lights off, if photocell model mode is set to active. Please tap OK to continue. Tap Auto Absence Threshold. Auto Absence Threshold, the light level below which the sensor would automatically switch from absence to presence mode. This would normally be a low twilight level, applicable only if occupancy trigger mode is configured for auto absence. Tap Turn On Delay. Turn on delay enables delay start of up to 1 minute for a channel. This may be useful if another load or channel would ordinarily start up the same time as this one. But once the other load has had a little time to establish a light level, this channel's photocell may be satisfied, and it would be unnecessary to turn on. Please tap OK to continue. Tap Bright Out Timer. Set the bright out time. Please tap OK to continue. Regulation Enable and Disable allows lights to dim or brighten to regulate lighting at a constant set point. Tap Regulation Set Point. Regulation Set Point, the control level for the lighting. Please tap OK to continue. Tap Deadband. Deadband, a band centered around the light level regulating set point within which the light output will remain unchanged. It is used for reducing the amount of dither that may be seen in the controlled load. Please tap OK to continue. Tap Daylight Dim Limit. Daylight Dim Limit is the minimum limit for dimming the lighting. Please tap OK to continue. Tap Regulation Group A. Regulation Group A light levels can be maintained or regulated by the sensor, and levels would normally transition away from the windows. The group used for Group A in the regulation is usually the lights nearest the windows. Please tap OK to continue. Tap Regulation Group B. Regulation Group B. The group used for Group B in the regulation, usually the mid-area lighting. Please tap OK to continue. Tap Regulation Group C. Regulation Group C is the group used for Group C in the regulation and is usually the lights furthest from the windows. Please tap OK to continue. Tap Regulation Offset BA. Regulation Offset BA is the offset level between groups B and A to allow dimming towards or away from the windows. Please tap OK to continue. Tap Regulation Offset CA. Regulation Offset CA is the lowest level between groups C and A to allow dimming towards or away from the windows. Please tap OK to continue. Tap Set Up Photocell. To set up the photocell, use a light meter to calibrate the photocell and adjust the light level output to achieve a reading of 500 lux on the light meter. Adjust the estimated light level to match the meter reading at desk level. Click Return to Settings menu and select Switches. Select Switches. Tap the Switches option at the top of the screen. Activate the first light switch to enable editing switch parameters. As each light switch is activated, the associated input will be displayed in the drop-down list. Tap the drop-down arrow. The drop-down menu shows the connection for the switch you operated. Tap SA 1.2. Now the input is defined. Tap Function. Select the required function for the first switch. Please tap OK to continue. Activate the second light switch to enable editing switch parameters. Open the drop-down menu and select the new switch input at the top of the list. Tap. Now the input is defined. Tap Function. Select the required function for the second switch. Please tap OK to continue. Repeat for all remaining switches. Please tap back arrow at the top of the screen. Save the device settings. Please tap Yes to continue. Return to the Settings menu and select Firmware Upgrade. select Firmware Upgrade. To upgrade the sensor's firmware, download the latest firmware and find it in your device's download folder. Tap Recent Files icon. Locate and tap the latest Dali64 firmware release. To upgrade the sensor's firmware, tap Yes. Updating firmware progress will be shown confirming current and new versions. Please tap OK to continue. Once the firmware update is complete, the sensor will reset and disconnect. Please tap OK to continue. The sensor will reconnect and display the current firmware version to confirm the upgrade. In this module, we learnt about identifying switches, product parameters, photocell and regulation option, the switches option, and firmware upgrade. We hope you enjoyed this light touch application training course and found it useful. Thank you and goodbye.